Welcome friends. Let me continue to discuss elasticity of demand, and now I'll proceed on to discuss classification of elasticity. Classification of the elasticity is done on the basis of the degree of elasticity or its measurement, right? Now demand of a commodity can be classified into the 5 categories. There are 5 categories, and they are perfectly inelastic. Demand of a commodity can be put into one of these category. Inelastic demand is that one, or the perfectly inelastic demand is that one where quantity demanded of a commodity does not at all change in response to a price change. That means whatever change is there in the price, quantity demanded will remain same. Okay. If you recall, elasticity of demand is percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. Basically, this is the ratio of the percentage change in quantity demanded to a percentage change in price. Sorry. Now, when I said that in such case where the demand is perfectly inelastic, percentage change in quantity demanded is 0. That means quantity demanded is not changing at all. Okay. Divided by any number, let me put hash here, it could be any number. Okay, so 0 divided by any number will give you 0, or when in order to get the percentage of that will remain 0. So perfectly inelastic demand is one where the elasticity of demand is 0. So if the magnitude of elasticity is 0, there is it will be called perfectly inelastic demand. If you plot it on the graph, you will get a curve like this, which is vertical line on horizontal or the x-axis on which you measure the quantity, and this demand curve will be parallel to y-axis on which you measure price. So Q1 is the quantity, whatever be the price. Okay, right? So elasticity of demand is 0. It will be called inelastic or perfectly inelastic. Perfectly inelastic demand. So this is one category of elasticity. Now another category is where elasticity is perfectly, or the demand is perfectly elastic. That means even a negligible change in price, it's perfectly elastic. Or let me write it again. Perfectly elastic demand is the one where the percentage change, or it becomes immeasurable even if there is a slight change in the price. Quantity demanded will change so immensely in such a huge magnitude which just become immeasurable. So its curve will be like this, QD, and here price. It will be horizontal. This will be the demand curve. That means there is only one price, which is P1. On P1 price there is a demand. Whatever quantity is there, that could be sold, or there is a demand for that. Except this price P1, there is no demand. Okay, this is, so you can call it, this will be infinity, because elasticity of demand is infinitely large. Why it is large? Because the QD, or the change in QD, is immeasurable. So there is an infinite change in quantity demanded as a result of change in price. That is why this elasticity of demand will be infinite. Okay, so sorry, this was the second category, or these categories are not in any order. You can put any category at any place. Okay, so these two categories, that is perfectly elastic and perfectly inelastic, are the two extreme cases. That has only the theoretical significance. In the real world situation, it's next to impossible to find the good that has the elasticity to be either infinite or the zero. It could be close to zero. That means very negligible elasticity, especially in case of those that are just life-saving kind of thing. I mean the food, but still it has the positive. Some elasticity will be there. Some positive value has to be there. And infinite elasticity could be for a particular firm or particular business that we will discuss at some other stage, but for the time being it is sufficient to remember that this perfectly elastic demand is the one in case of which the elasticity of demand is infinity. Okay, now the real world situation are the one, or these are the three categories in which you can classify the demand for the various goods. That is elastic. That is, there is responsiveness is fairly large, but it is obviously not infinite. Okay. In such case, you will find that percentage change in QD divided by percentage change in price will be greater than 1. It will be because change that occurs in quantity demanded is large in magnitude as compared to the percentage change in price. Okay, so in case of, if ED is greater than 1, it will be called, it is elastic. If you want to show it on the graph, you will have a curve that will be quite flatter, or let me make it more flatter so that it remains more visible. Okay, I am not giving any numerical value to this. Suppose this is P2 and this is okay, P1, Q1, Q2. You can show it through these numbers. Okay, point A or B, this was the first point, this was the second point. Suppose you begin with the price P when quantity demanded was Q2, and as a result of change in the price from P1 to P2, quantity demanded declined from Q2 to Q1 when the price increased from P1 to P2. And from a glance you can judge that this magnitude is greater than, that is Q1, Q2 is greater than P1, P2. You can put the numbers and apply the formula, you will get the same result where elasticity of demand will be greater than 1, simply because of the reason that the change in the numerator is greater. So numerator value will be higher than the denominator, so this will have the value which is greater than 1. So elastic demand is the one where the value of elasticity is greater than 1. Next category of the elasticity could be inelastic. Okay, inelastic demand is the one where change in the quantity demanded as a result of change in the price is less than the percentage change in price. That is, change in price will result the change in quantity demanded, which in percentage term will be less than the percentage change in price. Okay, and the formula, the same formula, the percentage change in QD divided by percentage change in price. Here this will be smaller. I mean, percentage change in QD, sorry, is smaller than percentage change in price. Okay, so this will result in elasticity of demand to be less than 1. Why? Because this is the numerator, this is the numerator, which in value terms is smaller than the denominator. Obviously the result will be the value which is less than 1, and if such type of elasticity, if you plot on the graph, you will get a steeper curve like this. I have made it to be much steeper. It's not necessary that curve is that steeper. Any number which is less than 1, it could be 0.99, that will be inelastic. Okay, so you can show, suppose this was P1, this was Q1, and increase in price brought, sorry, this was Q2, suppose Q1. So this value, I mean Q1, Q2 is less than P1, P2. I mean, here the change is here in this direction, and here the change is in this direction. So Q1, Q2 is smaller in number as compared to the P1, P2. So in this case, elasticity of demand is less than 1, which is inelastic. Such demand will be called inelastic demand. Okay, now still another category is there, which is unitary elastic, or simply unity. Unitary elastic is the demand where the resultant change in quantity demanded in percentage term is equal to the percentage change in price. Both will change by equal measure in percentage term. Why I am insisting again and again on percentage? Because magnitude of both could be quite different, and where the absolute change will be rendered meaningless by the sheer difference in their magnitude. So it is better to judge the change in terms of the percentage. So similarly, ED is equal to percentage change in QD divided by percentage change in price. And in this case, where unitary elastic is that this percentage change in QD is equal to the percentage change in price. So when both the numerator and denominator will be changing in the same magnitude in terms of percentage, the resultant value will be 1. So elasticity of demand for the unitary elastic demand will be 1. So now guys, so let me conclude by summarizing the whole discussion. On the basis of the magnitude of the elasticity, it can be classified into 5 categories. It is perfectly inelastic if its value is 0. It is perfectly elastic if its value is infinity. It is elastic if its value is greater than 1. It is inelastic if its value is less than 1. It is unitary elastic if its value is equal to 1. So why different commodities have different elasticities, because of which they are put into different categories. On this, please see my next video. Thank you very much.